Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It's Robbie here again on the afternoon of Wednesday, May 28th. We are ticking down the days in May, about to hit June. Memorial Day is behind us, and a lot to talk about in this episode. But before we get there, as always, joined by Snail out in Seattle. And Snail, how are things going on your Wednesday here as we get toward start thinking about June?
Yeah, where did this month go? Yeah, all is good out here. Beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. Starting to get kind of a little more settled in here at the new place. Dude, playoffs, though, watching a lot of hockey. These last couple of games have been super interesting. I'm pretty excited to dive into those. But other than that, not a whole lot going on my neck of the woods. As you can see, I painted my room again. For those that pay attention to that stuff, it was a bright white. Now it is it's called black magic. It's very dark in here now. So, other than that, not a whole lot. Robbie, tell me what's going on out in Western PA.
Well,
how's Johnstown?
Johnstown today is wet. It is rainy today. We had a nice Memorial Day weekend, though. It was chilly. It was
nice.
Not pool weather, not what I would call summer weather, but it was certainly beautiful. The sun was in the sky. It was nice to be outside that way. But today the rain has set in, but it is supposed to warm up and get nicer as we go through into the weekend here. So so all's good. If it's going to rain any day, might as well rain during the week when I have to work all day. So
right.
That way, might as well just, if you have to get the rain, get it out of the way and just enjoy it. But it's been good. Memorial Day was good. Did you guys partake in any unofficial start to summer activities?
So I was just going to kind of go into that. I was going to ask you, I don't know if we've talked about it on here before, but, for those, we have a few listeners that aren't from the United States, so they might have no idea what Memorial Day is. I would call Memorial Day 4th of July light. It's, obviously it's to remember those who've served our country, right? That's the premise of it. But with there always being it's an official day off for our for like schools and stuff. So I think growing up, we've kind of seen it as the unofficial, like you said, unofficial kickoff to summer. It's like 4th of July light. A lot of people go out to their cottages or cabins or whatever and get out on the lake and barbecue. But like you were saying, Robbie, out here, it wasn't quite nice enough for true close to 4th of July activities. I did grill. I grilled up a few veggie dogs. So that's kind of what we did. It was a nice day, but it was super windy and it had rained earlier that day. But got the grill out. So I've never cooked with charcoal before. Have you ever grilled with charcoal?
I don't think so.
Dude, I've never done it before, and I felt like such an idiot, dude. I had no idea what I was doing. You know how dumb I looked? I was holding up one of those little briquettes of charcoal, and I was trying to light it on
Oh,
fire
gosh.
with a lighter. I was just like, how do you get the... I was reading the instructions. It's like, you need an accelerant. I was like, oh, an accelerant, like a wadded up piece of newspaper, and drop that in there. Didn't happen. It took forever to get this thing fired up and actually cooking. By the time I actually got a few veggie dogs to the point where they were charred and brown, I was just like, I could have air fried these in 3 minutes and been eating. But it was about being outside. It was about sitting in my camping chair. That's what it was really about. So I'm going to be more prepared for the grill. Come 4th of July, I'm going to be a seasoned vet at using charcoal. I actually just picked up some charcoal, like accelerant, like basically lighter fluid. But that's what I'll be ready come 4th of July, Robbie. So that's what I did. What about you?
Plenty of practice.
Yeah, I got a lot of time to practice, but besides what do you guys do for Memorial Day out east? I imagine that Memorial Day is probably a little bit of a bigger deal out east, just with the rich history, like the war history you guys have. It's just the East Coast is just, I don't know. I feel like you guys have a bigger military, like.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it was founded and started.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
That. We have a plenty of small towns in my area, all with big veteran presences, or they did in the past. Families and stuff like that. So we have some towns have parades, some just have like memorials, small events. No massive parade or anything like that, but it all depends on where you're at. But like you said, a lot of good food, a lot of good memories. But yeah, it's kind of the rehearsal to the 4th of July. Hopefully the 4th of July, the weather's at least a little bit warmer. I'll take the sun and the clear skies, but definitely a little bit warmer, so you can it feels a little more comfortably outside. You don't have to be outside wearing a hoodie on the 4th of July. So but no, I mean, yeah, good times. And the United States celebrated a world championship in hockey. First time in 92 years. They defeated Switzerland in the gold medal game 1-0 in overtime. Tage Thompson getting the overtime winner, celebrating with the Johnny Gaudreau jersey.
Nice touch by nice touch. USA.
But yeah, I mean, a nice win there. Again, Crosby and Canada got shocked early in the knockouts, but the United States brings home a title they've been dying to have for many years now, and it looks like it should be a nice little audition for a lot of guys to make the Olympic team next year. So yeah, hopefully some of those guys are heading to Italy based on what I saw from them. So.
We should. I want to touch on those games quickly. The first one I want to touch on was that Canada game. I actually didn't really watch any of the games live, but I was about to head out that day, and I saw a tweet that said that shots were pretty close. Or no. Canada was dominating shots wise, but they were going into the third period tied. And I turned on the game and postponed whatever I was about to do to watch some of that Canada game versus Denmark. And did you read that article that came out where that Canada was so confident that they were going to win that they didn't even pack any of their stuff to go play that game? So they had to fly. They were going to have to fly home with Team Denmark, but they didn't have like room on their plane or something. And then they had to take like public transit basically back to Sweden to collect their stuff and then go home with their tail between their legs.
I did not read that, but that is pretty embarrassing.
I'd read a little bit of it, and then I'd heard analyst Mike Johnston talked about that because he was over calling the games.
Oh, okay.
And he said that they didn't even bring like their family or like anything like that, like the kids and wives and like whatever that they'd had over there. Mm-hmm. And then they get stunned and have to go home with he was joking that, Sid might have just put down the gold card and said, let's get me a private plane back home. I don't need to wallow around in Sweden. But and then the USA game, Tage Thompson with the golden goal. You think that Team USA, the powers that be that snubbed him on the Four Nations roster, do you think that was sending a bit of a message?
Well, if it didn't send a message of kind of like should have taken me, it's definitely sending a message of like let's not make the same mistake again. Thompson should have been on that Four Nations team.
I mean, that guy's so good.
Yeah, I mean he's a 6'5" behemoth with a nasty shot, and in games and tournaments like this, you just need guys that can score goals, and he's one of those guys. And they're playing on NHL ice next year, NHL size ice, so. Yeah, you got to find a way to get him on the roster. It's going to be a competitive roster. But
he actually looked normal size on the European ice.
Yeah, he is an absolute behemoth of a human being.
And he uses a tiny stick, which is so weird.
He's going to have back problems when he's in his later ages because he bends over so much when he shoots when he's on the ice because his stick is so tiny. But
yeah, he looks like an old man with a cane when he's leaning into the one-timer.
Yeah,
it's weird, but it works for him. Again, you can't argue with a guy who rips home 50.
You can't argue with the results. I mean, you can't argue with the results in any fashion. So, Tage Thompson gets the golden goal. USA wins Worlds for the first time since the 1930s. Crazy stat there. But
in an IHF tournament, that's insane.
In men's world championships. Yeah, they won some world juniors and some other age brackets. They've not won the men's world championships for almost 100 years prior to 2025.
That's good on the USA for getting it done. I mean, their roster was pretty impressive. Nothing compared to Canada's. I think Canada getting stunned by Denmark. I mean, I saw a lot of people throwing Dubas shrapnel saying the guy just can't win a thing. Yeah. But we'll hold off on Dubas slander for now. Before we totally move on from this, Robbie, and I don't know if you have any more thoughts on the international competition that just wrapped up, but I was going to ask, do you think number 13 will be retired for USA Hockey? Like, do you foresee anyone ever wearing that number again? That's kind of the vibe I got from the donning of the Johnny Hockey jersey when they got the gold medal. What are your thoughts on that? Because I could see them almost retiring it, like for USA.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely something that once everything kind of settles down and everybody kind of gets, it just you move past it a little bit. I definitely think you could see a situation where, at least at the adult level, nobody ever wears the men's level. Nobody ever wears the number 13 again. And I don't know if any of the guys right now, because everybody that's going to be on these teams for the next decade plus has probably played with or against Johnny Hockey at some point. Like, these guys have known him closely. I mean, Zach Werenski was his teammate in Columbus. Matthew Tkachuk was his teammate in Calgary. You have all these guys that are very close to Johnny. So it would not surprise me if the USA Hockey doesn't retire 13, at least at the men's elite level, within the next year or two, maybe even after the Olympics or however they decide to do it. It would not surprise me one bit if they decide to go that route. And I think that would be a justified route.
I think so too. I mean, it just seems like I just actually Googled it quick. The IIHF, they don't retire jerseys like the NHL does. But I think that could be just like an internal thing that USA Hockey does. It's just
nobody from America ever wears it again. That's completely legitimate, I think, all in all.
Well, I think that'd be just a classy move by Team USA, and I guess it's sick that they got it sucks Johnny Hockey wasn't a part of that one, but I think he was there in some capacity. But,
absolutely.
Robbie, if you want to move on to the playoffs that are happening right here and now, I'm dialed in and ready to do so.
We're gonna take one quick detour again here.
Let's do it.
And Cam Robinson of Elite Prospects, a hockey news site, tweeted out about an hour ago. He said, for what it's worth, every team side source I've spoken to this week believes Mitch Love will be the next head coach of the Penguins.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Okay. Well, my cousin texted me a couple days ago and said, looks like the Kraken are going to hire Mitch Love. And I was just like, oh, yeah. Who are your sources on that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name on here. He might actually tune in once in a while. But Yeah, I thought maybe that the once I saw Blashill taken off the board and he went to Chicago, I was like, I don't know, man. I could see, it sounds like it was kind of like it was coming down to, oddly enough, Pittsburgh and Seattle maybe for trying to land Mitch Love. And you were mentioning that you'd read something that Dubas wants it by June 1st. He wants to make an announcement by June 1st ish.
It sounds like it. Dave Pagnotta said the Penguins are moving through their final rounds of interviews. And June 1st was the original date that the Athletic gave out. That was Josh Yohe speaking to Kyle Dubas. That was not a guesstimate. That was Kyle Dubas saying he wanted a coach in place by June 1st because before the draft, there is some kind of meetings that the front office and coaches take part in, and he wants the coach in position for those meetings because they're very important with offseason planning and draft planning. So he does not want to wait around too much longer. So if that timeline is correct, we should know by Sunday, which is June 1st. And if Cam Robinson is correct with his information, it will be Mitch Love. Last night, the same Cam Robinson tweeted out that the Boston Bruins are going to are set to hire Marco Sturm.
I saw that Jay Woodcroft didn't get the job.
Yeah, as their next head coach. Sturm, a former Bruin himself. So a lot of Bruins fans I read in the comments were not thrilled because they were tired of the Bruins kind of going the keep it in the family route. They'd like apparently the Bruins have a long history of kind of if you're a Bruin once, you're a Bruin for life, and kind of going that route, which doesn't always work. That can definitely be a detriment to go like that. But it does sound like Marco Sturm to the Bruins, and as of what we know right now, it sounds like the needle is pointing in the direction of Mitch Love for the Penguins, which a lot of people seem to think that's where the Penguins would eventually end up. And again, nothing official. And hopefully by Sunday we aren't waiting, or at least we're not waiting past Sunday. But it does sound like Mitch Love will be the next head coach of the Penguins, according to sources as of right now.
Well, I mean, I'm all for that, Robbie. You know how I love my players from the WHL. Mitch Love. I actually have seen Mitch Love in person coach behind the bench in Everett out here. He coached. I just remember, God, maybe it was like 2015, 16. I think he was coaching during those Penguins runs. And WHL guy, he was a tough player himself. I think he coached another team in the WHL too, maybe like Saskatoon or something like that. But he's had success everywhere he's gone down there. And like I've said before on here, I'll trust anyone from the dub over, OHL, the Q. NCAA is starting to become more of a juggernaut, but I've always just said that the WHL, they seem so much more NHL ready because of the travel schedule and the overall kind of toughness of the game. It was very old school and throwback compared to like the college route or even some of those Eastern Canadian hockey juniors teams. And I'm excited for it. If it's Mitch Love, wouldn't it be something if we get a complete curveball and it's not Mitch Love and it's Jay Woodcroft at the last hour? But I'm all for Mitchy Love, dude. Like,
absolutely.
Bring him. Welcome to Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. So yeah, we now sit and wait and see if that report is correct. Again, if the timeline is correct, we won't have to wait too much longer. But until then, playoff hockey. We are 4 games through in each series, and the road team, the quote-unquote road team, leads 3-1 in each series. In the East, the juggernaut of the Florida Panthers through 3 games buzzed through the Carolina Hurricanes like they were playing a junior team. And game 4, the Carolina Hurricanes get a victory to stay alive. They were coming into that game 15-0 or 0-15 in their last 15 Eastern Conference final games. They finally got one to make it 3-1 and drag it back to Carolina. By the time you listen to this, game 5 will have been played, and we will find that. And by the time you listen to this, you will know if that series is over or if they are going back to Florida for a game 6 on, I believe, Friday. So this series has not felt close. Florida is a much better version of what the Canes are trying to be, because the Canes simply do not have the high-end talent that Florida does. And in a series like this, that absolutely shows through.
I mean, Robbie, I don't even know what to think of this Carolina Hurricanes team because they're so dialed in during the regular season. They're so annoying to play. Like their details are what make them so annoying, and I hate when the Penguins play them because they're such a sloppy team the last couple of years, and it's just a frustrating game to watch. But it just seems that Florida has everything it takes to get. They literally are the Maple Leafs of the Metro. Like they have everything it takes, but to get to the Eastern Conference Final. They have everything it takes to get there in dominantly too. Like it's not like there's usually no game sevens involved for them. They usually just make tidy work of whoever they play. And then they get there and what did you say? They're 0 until that last win, they were 0-15 in Eastern Conference Final games. The Penguins had a hand in that too.
Yeah,
they swept them in 2009, right?
2009, the Penguins swept them in 4, and then I believe it was 2019, they got swept or 21 maybe. They got swept by the Boston Bruins. 2019 they got swept by the Bruins, and then the Bruins lost to the Blues. And then in 2023, they were there when Florida made its return to the Stanley Cup final. They lost in that series in 4 games with home ice in that series as well. But they do get one in this series. Again, I picked the Hurricanes. You picked the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
It just, for Florida, this is all that really matters. They're here. They're the best team in the East. And they're just playing. When they play their game with that efficiency, it's just really hard to beat them.
Yeah, they definitely have a system that I mean, they're built to play any type of team. Like they can play man on man, like a high shot volume type. They can play man on man coverage, high shot volume team like Carolina and just dummy them. They can play a tougher team, a more defensive team in Washington, the Capitals. I mean, they could play. Actually, they didn't play the Capitals this postseason, but they can play any way you want, and that's what's so scary about them. And Sam Bennett's not going to get you 40 goals during the regular season and 100 points, but in the playoffs he just pops. He's just a big game. He's like a Brian Russ. Like Penguins fans, I don't know how many of you guys are still tuned in. I'd hope you guys are still watching playoffs, but even though the Pens aren't in it, but like some of these guys during the regular season, it's just like, just get me to the postseason and I'm going to make room for myself out there. It's big boy hockey and I'm going to score clutch goals. I mean, Evan Rodriguez is on this team and he's a pretty impactful player. I didn't think that Seth Jones signing or trade that they made, I thought Seth Jones was done. I mean, he's been awful since he went to Chicago.
Yeah.
And that guy, I mean, he's got term lift on his deal too. Like Florida's their back end. If they re-sign Ekblad, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch for a right shot D. It seems like they're just getting stronger and stronger too. I thought that Sam Reinhart, did you see that Sam Reinhart? He got his knee hit. I can't remember who hit him, but his knee flexed all weird. He actually missed a game. It looks like he's going tonight. People that are listening, it's going to be, he'll be playing. He would have played this game. And God, you get him back. It's like, dude, I don't know. They're a demon.
They are. Yeah. They're just a machine. It feels like they got through their 2 hardest opponents in Tampa and Toronto. And it just every round, like you expect them to run out of gas at some point, and it really just seems like they keep adding fuel every time they step on the ice. And one thing I saw somebody point out is after watching the series, Toronto has to be absolutely kicking themselves right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so too.
At Toronto, again, I'm not saying that they would have dominated like Carolina is, but Carolina, that top end talent is just so important at this point in the playoffs. And again, the top, you can say all you want about the Maple Leafs top end talent not showing up. It's just such a huge difference maker. And Florida, they play a similar game to the Hurricanes that just beat the hell out of you, grind you down. But man, when you can throw guys like Barkov and Kachuk and Reinhart and just all these guys. Evan Rodriguez is one of the most underrated players in hockey.
He is,
and
yeah.
is an absolute annoyance, but can also create offense. It's got to be so frustrating if you're a Carolina fan to watch the team that you're basically trying to emulate just put you in a coffin for 4 games at this point, but at least 5 games. And I mean, I just don't see any route back for them. Maybe they win one at home, but I think the next time we meet up, we're going to have an Eastern Conference champion Florida Panthers again.
I don't see Carolina just magically. I mean, you haven't really had like the Sebastian Aho game yet. You know how people say that they haven't had the Svechnikov game. There, Roddy Brindamore came out and was kind of giving it to his first line there. I would say would be Svechnikov, Jarvis, and Aho. He says the young guys can't be your best player. I think he even said Jordan Staal can't be your best player. Jordan Stahl's a third line checker for the Carolina Hurricanes at this point in his career, and he basically was saying, you know, your best players can't be these depth guys or the young guys. And I think that, wouldn't you say he's calling out his first line in Aho and Svechnikov and Jarvis? I mean, those guys need to have a game, and not just a game. They need to dominate a couple of games here for this to become like a real series. If they're not the type of players, if that's not going to happen for them, then it's almost annoying that they pushed it to. It's almost annoying that they won a game, and it's like, let's just wrap this thing up and, you know, get in the wrapper and let's move on and give Florida like 2 weeks almost of rest before the Stanley Cup final starts.
Yeah, probably at least a week. I don't know if they announced an official start date yet, but it's going to be, and for a team that's trying to do this 3 times in a row, they'll take as much rest as they can get. So out west, another 3-1 series. Like I said, this one, man, maybe it's just time. Maybe it's just Connor and Leon's time. The depth is better than it's ever been. I don't know who replaced Stuart Skinner in goal, but whoever it is, make sure that he stays there the rest of this run. They were 6 minutes away from being down 3-0 against the Kings. They were 30 seconds away from being down 3-1. And now they're a win away from going back to the Stanley Cup final. I don't know, man. They're a joy to watch, and
they are.
They're just never out of a game. And when you can score goals like that, even in the playoffs where things tend to tighten up, they're just never out of a hockey game.
No, they're not. And, you know, the Leon and Connor, they have shown, and I'm not trying to turn this into Leaf shrapnel, but they have shown that with their world-class talent, they're able to find new levels. Like they have killer instinct, I think. They smell blood in the water. They know how to turn it up a notch, even if they've been going all game and you know, the puck's been going through them like it usually does. When it gets down to the wire, I mean, those guys know how to push it to another level, and it's like you said, it's just a joy to watch. It's so fun. I feel like every year, you know, there's these lists that come out of like who's number 1. It's McDavid. Number 2 is, you know, McKinnon. Every postseason though, Draisaitl is, I think, like the second best player in the National Hockey League. He just every playoffs he just proves it. He's got that dog in him. He's got all the skill in the world. It's so cool to watch. The thing with this Edmonton team too is like they've got these other good players that maybe during the regular season aren't, you know, like Nugent Hopkins has been an afterthought for so long. He was a first overall pick. You know, he was a very skilled, great player. He dedicates himself to more of a two-way game in the postseason, but then that skill pops through when he needs to. And I mean, Nugent Hopkins has been on fire. Zach Hyman, Toronto let him go for nothing. And he signs and turns into a 50-goal scorer in Edmonton.
Zach Hyman is out for the rest of the playoffs. So
I don't know how you can't replace that. He's such a smart player.
That's Jeff Skinner's music, baby.
Oh God, dude. I don't understand that Jeff Skinner signing. I feel bad for the guy. He got one playoff game in, and it was pretty much, I think I've seen enough of that. Corey Perry.
Corey Perry. Let's talk. Corey Perry is somehow probably going back to another Stanley Cup final. he still only somehow won one Stanley Cup. And
I know.
This is one of the most incredible like runs that I've ever seen somebody go on. Again, he keeps bouncing to the wrong team. It seems like next year he'll probably be in Florida and they'll like miss the playoffs or something like that.
He's host on steroids.
Yeah, except he hosted at least won some cups. But not only is Corey Perry just like out there eating minutes, Corey Perry's out there contributing at like a above average level for a guy his age. He's just never going to retire. He might die playing hockey. And again, everybody from those Ducks teams is pretty much gone and out of the NHL. And Corey Perry's still out there, a win away from another Stanley Cup final, playing alongside McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, and not, like I said, not just eating minutes, but playing at a really incredible level.
I mean, he's scoring big goals. He's such a smart player. You know, he's a lot like Sid. It's kind of interesting how those guys' careers have been almost kind of they're very similar players. I feel like looking at like hindsight, I kind of wish I think one of the most complimentary players that could have ever played with Sid would have been a guy like Corey Perry. The way that he plays down low behind the net and around the crease, like that would have been a match made in heaven. But that's a conversation for another day. He's such a smart guy, like dude. Like Corey just knows. If you're looking for Corey Perry, just go to the front of the net. You'll find him there.
Yeah.
And when you've got a guy like Connor McDavid who can cut to the inside and has all the speed in the world and he's got a lethal shot, and then you've got big old Corey Perry falling accidentally on purpose on a goaltender and causing a havoc. I mean, it's a match made in heaven, really. It's they should have got him earlier. But you know, you're going to see his minutes. Connor Brown went down with what I believe would be a concussion. I think all those right guys on the right side got an uptick in minutes. Now with Hyman out, well, I mean, Corey Perry might. You said this is sweet music to Jeff Skinner. This might be sweet music to Corey. He's like the worm, they call him. This might open even a bigger window for him.
Yeah, that and Kasperi Kapanen legend hours.
He has 2 points in the playoffs, and both of them are one is an empty netter to really seal the deal, and then the other is a game winner, dude. It's just making me sick.
Series ending game winner.
Series ending. I mean, series clinching goal. Yeah. And
in
it
overtime.
was in overtime, and it was a greasy goal, and he had to dive for it and jam it into the crease. And then
never did Pittsburgh.
No, all he did in Pittsburgh was fly down the wing like Carl Hagelin and hit a button hook U-turn, and then throw a puck into someone's skates, and it goes the other way. It actually makes me want to puke seeing Kasperi Kapanen just hit every single thing that moves and crushing dudes in the corner and then scoring clutch goals. I mean, I don't know. It makes me, like I said, it makes me kind of want to puke, but we can move on from that.
Yeah. So that is where the playoffs stand through 4 games in each series. By the time you listen to this, Game 5 between Carolina and Florida will be in the books. They are back in Carolina for Game 5. Florida up 3-1. So by the time you listen to this, that series could very well be wrapped up, or it could be a Game 6 for Friday night. So stay tuned to that. But all right, we did last week. I put out a mailbag question. I got a few from Ed Beckham, who was our correspondent in Sweden for the World Championships for a weekend. But we're just going to roll through some of these. We'll get another fresh mailbag on the docket for next week, but we'll just throw it out here. We'll start here. Is the Stanley Cup the best trophy in sports? And by that, is it literally the nicest looking trophy?
Yeah, because that's you could take that two ways.
Ed, if you have something weird going on, that's okay. We'll get you someone to talk to, but yeah.
I think it is. Like, I think the fact that, like, the weird thing about the Stanley Cup too is it's not in its final form when you see it. True. The rings that they've had to remove, I mean, that thing might be a tower if you put all the teams. It
would be impossible to it would like extend way out past like your wingspan. You'd never be able to lift it.
You would never be able to. That would be cool.
And you couldn't even drink out of it because you'd need like.
You'd die of alcohol poisoning before you even got halfway done. No, it's because the cup. I get the cup at the top, whatever. But it's such an epic trophy, and I think if you just like at Ed's point, if you're just looking at it and you don't know what the history it is, if you have what's the trophy in the Super Bowl called?
The Lombardi Trophy.
The Lombardi Trophy. If you had that next to the Stanley Cup, next to, would you say a green jacket is the trophy?
They technically do have a trophy for that, but yeah, the green
Okay.
jacket is the most like synonymous with the Masters.
You'd probably be like, the Stanley Cup looks the most epic.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's probably like it's the original too. Like
Right.
the Lombardi trophy's new every year. The World Series trophy's new every year. Like they all are new every year because the teams keep them. Whereas the Stanley Cup, you can get like a replica made to keep in your offices, your team offices. But the Stanley Cup that you get is outside of the rings being exchanged. The top, at least, is the one that they were passing around 110 years ago. I mean,
Right.
that is that it's the original. It very, again, all trophies have a unique look to them because they're all different. But I mean, even if you talk to people or players, athletes from other sports, especially North American sports, they'll all tell you like the Stanley Cup is probably the hardest to win, and it's the one that I'd say looks the most unique in terms of design because, again, it's so old. I mean, it's technically two trophies kind of mashed together, the base and the top. So yeah, I mean, I think it's probably the nicest looking. It's probably the most unique. And I'd say like if you lined up like the four, that would be the one that most people could pick out of a lineup first, rather if they were non-sports watchers at least.
Right. I agree. Let's do a question. I'm looking at this list here. I want to throw this one out because I have an answer for it. But Robbie, I'd be curious to know or what you think as well. Ed asks here: have you watched any UK television shows?
I have. I watched Sherlock, which was Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. Just a modern telling of Sherlock Holmes. I've watched.
Benedict Cumberbatch is the most English or British name I've ever heard in my entire life.
Absolutely. I've watched Downton Abbey several times.
I've called that show Downtown Abbey for far too long, and I did.
Yeah, most people do. Let me think. I've watched. There's a show. It's a game. It's kind of like a competition. It's called Taskmaster. It's kind of I don't really know how to explain. Kind of like a variety show. They do like different stupid tasks as teams, as individuals. I've watched that. Trying to think what I haven't watched too many UK shows. Those are probably the big three that I've watched. I mean, I've watched clips and maybe episodes of other shows, but never fully immersed myself in much else. How about yourself? You sound like you had an answer teed up for this one. So.
I have one single. Well, I think I have one show that I actually watch to this day. It hasn't been. They haven't been making new episodes for probably over a decade. And have you heard of a show called Peep Show?
Sounds familiar.
Oh my God, it's so funny. My partner, she showed it to me. She watched it all the time, and then I think one of the first times we ever hung out, actually, she showed me this television show. And I thought it was kind of weird at first. Like it's very British. And it's the first I think the first maybe couple seasons are filmed it's supposed to really give the feel that you're looking through, like the camera is supposed to be the other person's point of view. Like it can be like kind of wobbly at times, but it's also got this humor to it that just turns your stomach. Like, I watch Peep Show still. I still try to, it's a comfort show at this point. I love to throw it on, kind of like maybe like for some people, The Office or something. But I watch Peep Show, and that cast of characters with Mark and Super Hands and Big Sue's, like all these characters. Robbie, I think it's on. I think you can watch it on Amazon Prime for free with ads.
Okay.
Robbie, I swear to God, like if you take one thing from me after all our time together on this podcast, I would really recommend you watching Peep Show, because I think that the humor it's not like I think it would just hit. I know your sense of humor. I think you'd get a kick out of it. Anyone else listening to this, if you haven't checked it out,
is it a
watch
scripted
it.
show?
Yes, it's like a sitcom.
Oh, okay. It's not okay.
It's like a sitcom. It's like like a Parks and Rec or whatever.
I know. I just looked it up, and I know I've seen some of the.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I've seen some of the actors.
I found a kid who swings a golf club like a dream. I'd like to try to qualify him for the U.S. Amateurs.
Coming to Apple TV Plus.
What's your name?
I'm not into older guys, but I'm flattered.
A new comedy series, Stick.
I don't want to go on this trip.
Your mouth's saying one thing, but those eyes are saying something else.
From the home of Ted Lasso.
This is your shot at redemption? This is your mulligan?
Owen Wilson.
This game takes and it takes. The game's finally giving me something back.
Stick.
You know Arnold Palmer?
Iced tea, lemonade, mix it.
I'm missing a nap for this.
Streaming June 4th on Apple TV Plus.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. Dip approved by ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, Sprite, McFlurry, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Not all EVs are created equal. The Ioniq 9 sets a new standard. Hyundai's first all-electric EV with 3 rows. Space in an EV. Finally. Plus, with over 300 miles of range, ultra-fast charging capability, and tech infused with safety features, this isn't just space. It's freedom reimagined. More room, more possibilities. Learn more about the Ioniq 9 at HyundaiUSA.com. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
This episode is brought to you by PetSmart. Stop by for Yappy Hour with your pet at PetSmart. Save $5 on walk-in grooming services like nail trims, ear cleaning, brushing, and more. No appointment needed every weekday from 2 to 6 p.m. And while you're there, Yappy Hour includes exclusive in-store deals, like 25% off pet toys. Visit services.petsmart.com/grooming to learn more.
How many? Is it just one season?
No. There's lots of seasons.
Oh,
but,
yeah. I see. Okay, yeah. I see. It's just season 1 just popped up, and I couldn't find the button to look at the other season. That's why.
British TV, maybe I've seen. Was Black Mirror technically British? Was Black Mirror? Because
Black Mirror, frick.
Yeah, that's not one you watch for.
Black Mirror is technically a British show. Yes,
I remember watching it the first couple of seasons, and I was like, it just feels like everything's out England way. But I
messed up.
It is. I don't recommend. Do you remember when they had to take a hiatus because we were going through COVID, and they were like, things have actually gotten so bad in real life that we don't think we need to pile on with current events.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of shows that I'll see. I've watched Peaky Blinders. I forgot that was.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It's a great show.
Yeah. I think I follow on Instagram the pub that they frequent in that show. The Peaky Blinders pub, but
there's shows that I want to watch. I always look up and they always recommend a bunch of shows. I just never end up actually watch them. But
yeah, I mean, there's only so much time to just watch shows. I'd be curious, people out in Europe, because with streaming services and all of that, and I don't really know what's do they watch US shows? Are they scarce out there? Like The Office or Parks and Rec. Those are
what about them?
Out in Europe, are those shows scarce out there, or do they watch those kinds? Do they watch our TV shows? The
Office is originally a British TV show.
That's right. That's right. And I think there was another one too that the US made a version of it, and it was British. It's got that one that takes place in Chicago or Detroit with that family of delinquents. I don't know. Neither here nor there, but I'd be curious what you guys all watch out in Europe way.
Yeah. Let us know, because I want to know if you guys watch any American shows, because do you sit around and binge Law and Order like Americans do? All right.
That would be funny.
We'll stick with TV here. Again from Edward. What was your favorite cartoon as a kid?
Man, that's so tough. Robbie, we really, you're 35. Yeah. Is that how old you are? I'm 33. we grew up in a time that was like, I think honestly, like truly special for like television and movies and like the Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. Like we had a lot to choose from and a lot of good stuff coming out at that time. For me, honestly, I could try to have a cool answer and really try to pull something that I just think the first thing that comes to my mind is Hey Arnold. I loved Hey Arnold.
I was actually going to say Hey Arnold.
That's how good it was. I mean,
yep.
It wasn't like it wasn't the funniest show. It wasn't it wasn't Family Guy or Simpsons, like shock value type stuff for that era. I just thought that it was funny in its own way. The grandpa in that show is hilarious. The older you get, the more things you realize flew over your head. Hey Arnold's just like a guy that I'd be friends with if I'd met him in real life. It's just the music in it, the art style, his bedroom that everyone probably wanted as a kid when they saw it. I'd have to go Hey Arnold. It's the first thing that pops into my head.
That's what I was actually going to go with. Any of those Nick shows, Rugrats, Hey Arnold, Rocket Power, Doug.
Doug was good too.
Yeah, I you can see them all on. I think Paramount has like the Nickelodeon roster, so it's I love that. Cartoon Network was big. We watched so many cartoons as a kid. Even the old cartoons, like the old Looney Tunes, the old Flintstones. I love Tom and Jerry. I will still watch Tom and Jerry. I'll stumble upon it on. I love Tom and Jerry deeply, so. That's another one for me.
You know that I was going to say the last thing about like Hey Arnold, I feel like it's the watchability no matter what age you are is like really good. Like Robbie, you could throw on Hey Arnold right now and like watch an episode and not feel like you're watching like, Teletubbies or something. Like it's like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Simpsons is good too. All right, let's go for a question here. Because I think Robbie, you probably have a couple of these teed up because I know you like to go to a few places in the summer. But Ed asks here, do you have any vacations planned for the summer of 2025?
No big vacations planned, actually.
You're not going down South Carolina?
Nah, not this year. Next year, I think we're going on a cruise as a family. My parents are actually headed to Alaska here in a couple weeks.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, with some other couples. So they're heading out here in a couple weeks. So as for a whole family, we're not really doing anything this year. We're just doing, if something comes up later in the year, maybe take a couple days off, but no big vacation planned. And actually, my parents are going to be like not too far from you at the end of their trip. They're flying out of Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
States. Yeah,
nice.
So they'll be in the I guess that's technically the Pacific Southeast. If you're technically in Canada.
Oh, Southwest. If you're in Canada, yeah, you're in the Southwest.
the Pacific Southwest, but obviously for Snail, we'll call it the Pacific Northwest.
That's so funny.
They're looking.
Bellingham would technically be like Tijuana. Bellingham, Washington is like Tijuana.
Tijuana with completely different laws and completely different weather.
Yeah, but that's cool. They're going to be up here. What do they do? Are they going like fishing or something up in Alaska?
They're doing a cruise and a land tour, and they are fishing
nice.
at one place. I can't remember exactly where it's at, but they're going to do Denali, glaciers, a whole bunch of stuff.
Epic.
So that way we're kind of they're going on a big vacation. As for myself, nothing planned right now, but if something comes along later in the year, maybe take a few days off and head somewhere. How about you guys? I know you just with the new house and stuff, maybe not, but
probably not. Maybe a couple of little trips here and there that I wouldn't even be able to point out at this point in time. Sometimes out here you're so close to the water, you're close to the mountains, like it's an hour and a half drive hour and a half drive to get to that Cascades, the Cascade Mountain Range, and the Puget Sound is just over the tree line pretty much out this way. So, but nothing on the calendar planned. I feel like the older I get, the more I cherish more like a time at home or maybe going out with some buddies or something like that over planning like a big trip, the stressors of that. But I'm talking with my buddy right now. My buddy lives out in Chicago, and there's a concert going on out there. We've kind of had some correspondence over maybe I'd go out to Chicago, but that wouldn't be until fall, so that doesn't necessarily pertain to the question. But yeah, it sounds like we here at the Skating Penguin Network podcast are just going to be kind of taking it easy this summer, just kind of chilling, maybe just having a vacation in your own yard type of deal.
Absolutely. Let's see here. You can have a few beers with one famous person. Who would it be? Hockey and non-hockey.
Okay, so let me just think here. So this is hockey and non-hockey. You can have a few beers with one famous person. Robbie, you should go first.
Me first. Oh boy. Non-hockey. I will say, I'm going to have one with Abe Lincoln. Non-hockey.
Really? Are you a big Abe Lincoln guy?
I am a big Abe Lincoln guy. That would be my non-hockey. My hockey, though, probably I want to see somebody that had good stories, like not even necessarily like a Crosby or a Lemieux, like somebody who had all the stories about them, because those are the ones that are going to spill the beans. I'm going to say, for the good Crosby stories, I'm going to say, boy, that's a tough question.
Who would have like the greasiest Crosby stories? Like
probably like
Jack
Armstrong,
Johnson,
Colby Wood. Trying to think of guys that were like on those cup teams that would have really good stories. I mean, Kunitz would have some really good stories. I mean, he was there forever.
He was, and I always wondered about their off-ice like relationship, like if they were friends or not. Like,
hockey, the actual hockey one is so difficult.
Sid probably has a childhood friend from Halifax, Nova Scotia, that no one knows his name, but he's probably been there with Sid for all of the debauchery he's ever taken place in his life growing up. There's some friend up there, probably some guy named Jerry from Cole Harbor, Nova Scotia, who was his neighbor or something.
Yeah, hockey-wise, somebody that I would have to think, like, somebody that would have really good stories of, like, Crosby or Lemieux, or even a guy that's, like, played a long time in the NHL that could just tell you stories of all the guys.
I feel like he's getting a lot more shine now, but, like, Chelios could be a guy
Chelios would be a guy like that. I think I mean Bissonnette feels like a cheat answer, because that he would you probably would need a drink with him to get him to tell every story that he has. But
I've seen Bissonnette's been getting a little shrapnel. People think he's being a little bit too much of a goofball. But
but no, I don't really have like a hockey one, because it's so hard. Like, there's so many interesting guys and interesting characters that would make that worth it.
Yeah, the hockey one's almost really hard, because there's a specific, you want stories, and you don't know who's got those, like, really. I think with podcasting now, and maybe like, a lot more hockey players coming out of their shell and telling stories on air, like on like a TNT panel or something, that you're getting a little bit more insider info about, players and things that have happened to players in the league. But yeah, there's a guy out there who's like the from Game of Thrones, like the eunuch, like the Master of Whispers. Yeah. There's someone in the NHL who is that guy, and he's got all the dirt and stories.
Actually, one guy that I think would be very interesting to have a conversation with, and he wouldn't drink beer, he'd have wine, would be Henrik Lundqvist.
Oh yeah, dude, that guy would have some crazy, because that guy pretty much was like the keys to the city in New York City.
Like, I think he would be a very interesting character. Just like, I mean, he was like, I mean, he's like an icon in to break through like he did in hockey. Again, it helps that you play in New York. It helps that you have the looks. It helps that you have all that. I think he would be the kind of guy to sit down with and like have some drinks with, because I think he could tell you, and he kind of bridged a couple different eras of like of hockey. I think he would be a really fun one to have a couple drinks with, to give some good stories.
I think, the after we mold this over a bit, I think having a few beers with like a hockey person, I want to know what all the almost that happened in Pittsburgh with Jim Rutherford. I'd love to have
Rutherford would tell you about anything.
I would imagine you get a few beers in him too. He would probably be like, I almost traded this guy for that. Like, I want to know about all the almost trades that happened.
You'd have to determine half of them probably wouldn't even be true. He'd probably just start making up crazy trade scenarios.
Or a lot of what would, coulda, woulda, shouldas from him.
Jim Rutherford's a very good answer. There's probably a lot of general managers through history that'd be really good answers, because especially guys that have built cup teams, all the steps they had to take to
Ken Holland.
Holland would be a good one. I think Tocchet would be a good one.
Ooh, Tocchet would be a really good one.
Tocchet would be a good one. Just because like he's been there as both a player and a coach, and look at the guys that he's played and coached with. Like,
he's like a true hockey guy, and he wasn't afraid of having a good time either. It's not like he was.
Trottier would be a good one too.
Trottier, he's another guy too. You wouldn't even have to give him a couple beers to start talking.
Again, he was through, he saw the great Islanders teams all the way through those great Penguins teams, played with a bunch of different characters, was around, didn't play with Crosby, obviously, but was around for, he's seen Crosby plenty. He's seen pretty much the gamut of great hockey. He'd be another one that I think would be a really fun conversation, just because he has that personality.
100%. That's a good one too. Non-hockey person though, quickly, you went with Abe Lincoln. That kind of threw me off. I was thinking like people that were alive, but yeah, talking to Abe Lincoln, do you think that if you had a conversation with him, the way we speak English and everything, would he understand us?
I always think about that, because if you read writing from you can see the way writing and speech is transformed over the years. Even going back to the 50s and 60s, it would be not completely different, but it would still be almost like a mini language barrier. But would he not understand? I think it would. It's not like talking to somebody it's a completely foreign language, but there would probably be some questions about the vernacular we use that would definitely have to be translated or explained. And the same way the other way, it's a more formal way of talking. I don't know. It's just a different style of how they talk back then. So yeah, there would definitely have to be some probably explanation for all that.
Probably. I feel like they probably talked slower back then too. He'd hear us just whipping through sentences, and he'd be like, what the hell am I listening to right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to pick a non-hockey, maybe Bam Margera or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Any of those dudes, Johnny Knoxville, any of the Jackass people would be just insane. You'd have to put a microphone down and just be like,
oh, actually, I got the CKY shirt on right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd probably pick, I think Bam just did a podcast, but I would love to just sit and ask him questions that, you're probably, that the podcast isn't asking. So
yeah.
Go with Bam and Jim Rutherford.
All right, so I'm gonna close it up there. We'll put out a new mailbag next week. Get some more questions. Get some fresh questions going around. We'll talk again. If the Penguins hire someone, we will be back. We're hopping on. We'll break it all down. Talk through it, and see what everybody's thoughts are on it. But for now, that's all I really got. Snell, do you have anything before we wrap it up?
Let's see here. I just wanted to quickly look up and see. God, I was maybe we can break it right now. Hoping to see a thing 11 minutes ago. Penguins hire this guy, but nope. We will have to wait probably till that June 1st deadline for an announcement
this weekend or something. Yeah, something like that. But
that's all I got. Those were fun questions, Robbie. Those are fun questions to kind of talk about. And the playoffs are in they're peaking right now. We're starting to really figure out, what the Stanley Cup final is going to look like. And yeah, it's kind of fun knowing there's some off-season Penguins news looming. So yeah, this was a good pod, man. Looking forward to the next one. Ed's got a few more questions I saw there on Twitter we need to get to, so we'll get to those at a later date. And don't hesitate to send in more for anyone else out there who's bored and listening.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll put out another tweet, get some fresh questions as well. So, yeah, Stanley Cup Finals continuing to roll along. We'll talk about those. Hopefully, by the next time we meet, we have a head coach and a Stanley Cup Final that we can talk about. Some more questions and all that. But for now, I'm Robbie. That is Snail. We will talk to you guys here in the near future.